We're starting to plan out and order all of our client appreciation gifts for the year. If you're a real estate agent and you haven't started that, I would suggest you do it. My tendency in the past has been typically that if I wait until closer to the holidays, it'll just keep getting knocked off of my list. It's been a really fun thing for us to do the past couple of years, especially because I think even the smallest of gestures to people really illustrates how valuable they are to us as small business owners and entrepreneurs. Showing that appreciation to them will not only incentivize them to sort of help us and continue to grow our businesses, but also it just genuinely, again, it shows how appreciative we are for them taking time out of their day to refer us business or do business with us personally. So jump on those client appreciation gifts. Well, this should be fun. What are we talking about today?
A bunch of things. Today, I kind of wanted to chat a little bit about gift guides and just your thought process behind, is it worth giving a gift, a client appreciation gift, what the difference is behind the end of year gift giving versus maybe a closing gift in the spring. Who are you gifting to? Why are you gifting to them?
Yeah.
And just your thoughts behind it.
Sure. Particular place that you want to start? I mean, I think when we had originally chatted about this, I shared a little bit about my history of like gift giving, right?
Yes.
Because I am particular. I like as an individual, like I don't put a whole lot of stock or value into gifts. Like my wife and I, we don't exchange a whole lot of gifts. I suppose I always, as a kid, enjoyed receiving them, but I didn't see sort of a lot of the value in the way that gifts were given, just kind of ordering from lists or impersonal nature of it, that sort of thing. So when I got into selling real estate, I was in a culture, in a climate that sort of reinforced that belief that gift giving was not really an important thing to do. You know, it was a very transactional environment that I started in real estate, almost to the point that I had the thought process and the mentality that I did the job that you hired me to do. You paid me to do the job. I did the job. It was an even exchange of value.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then
transactional.
It was very transactional. And that was sort of important at the time to keep me focused on the activities that I was doing. But I think that at the time I didn't recognize and appreciate the value that the other individual was choosing me over everyone else or other options that they had.
There is intrinsic value in there.
Yeah. And I wasn't sort of emotionally intelligent enough to understand the value of the relationship versus the value of the transaction.
Yes.
Right? So there was value in that, perhaps was an even exchange of value in the transaction, but there was not an even value exchange in the relationship.
Yes.
And maybe that's what I didn't fully appreciate prior to maybe, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Okay.
So I was 10 years into my career before I really started to understand the value of the relationship.
When you give gifts, that is what you're acknowledging, is the value of the relationship, the value of the person.
Yeah.
And not the home and not the sign and release, whatever you all call it.
Yeah, and I think all that much more sort of at the end of the year.
Yes.
You know, when you sit back and you feel that gratitude. And I think, again, you have to be in a particular mentally and emotionally stable point in your career or in your life to be able to feel that gratitude. And perhaps gratitude in general will get you to that mental and emotional point where you can be really appreciative of the relationship.
And I think, too, you mentioned that, especially at the end of the year, a lot of these transactions happen in the first half of the year, these relationships. And for you to come 6, 7, 8 months later and say, by the way, I still value our relationship and you mattered to me this year, whether it was a referral or just a business relationship or you sold their home or helped them buy a home, to come back and say, I didn't forget and I won't. That, I think, is the real value of the end of the year gift giving. And
well, I think it's more of a selfish let me just make sure I'm saying this the right way, but I think that it's more of a selfish act for me, because at the end of the year, when I sit back in gratitude and I take time and, spend resources and money on these activities,
In time, yeah.
right, really isn't with the intention of getting more business or creating more value for me. It's really a sincere and genuine appreciation for the relationship that I've had and the business that either, people have referred to me or, paid me monetarily to help them with a job, right? It's almost like to be able to have the resources and have the time and to put the thought in, to then to see the sincere gratitude that they have for the gift that I give and the acknowledgement of our relationship. That to me is what it's all about now.
You mentioned time and money, and it's a lot of work to put in these end of year gifts. To take the time to organize your client list, to decide what you're going to get, to then execute it, send it out. What's your process? What's the Esposito group? What has it been in years past? What's your process now for getting this done? It's a big thing to tackle, and it's a little, what's the word?
It's overwhelming. Yeah. I think you have to start at some point, right? Like you have to make the determination that this is the year that I am going to start doing it. Because now, while it takes time and effort and energy and money to do the things that we do, it's exponentially easier right now because our process is in place.
What is that process?
The first thing is you need to determine, exactly who you want to show gratitude to and appreciation to. Like, just create your list. Typically how we do that is we look at the clients that have done business with us this year, obviously. We've also looked at the folks throughout the community who have referred us business and either through an attempt or business that worked out. It doesn't really, for me, the appreciation doesn't really matter if the referral ends up working out, because the gesture from that person is really...
That was a relationship.
That was the relationship.
Yes.
Like, it's my job to either get the business or not get the business. They don't really have control over that.
And that's transactional. And that's not the point of this.
Correct. So what we try to do, and I apologize in advance if I miss anybody, my intention is not to, but we like to keep track along the year as the year goes of those people, again, on a yearly basis that have really supported us either through direct business or through a referral. And that's the intention. There are some folks throughout the community that we have great relationships with that just continually sort of support us. And for those people, we always like to include those people. But I think determining that list is the first part.
Okay.
And then determining how you want to show your appreciation. And that a lot of the time just depends on sort of what your budget is, what time will allow, because there are things that are more expensive where, between the actual gift and then getting it out to them and all of the other things, you could be looking at $60, $80, $100 per person.
Yeah.
And if you want to do that for 100 people,
yeah,
all of a sudden your cost can get up to $10,000.
And that's what I like about the gift guide that we worked on together was that we kind of covered everything from a candle for $8 and to, champagne food. So it depends on your budget and then your client size.
Even if you consider like those things are things that you can ship directly to the client, or
right.
You can get them shipped to you and then hand deliver them, right?
The hand delivery, and then no matter what you're giving, you've always made it a big point that it needs to come with a handwritten note.
Yeah.
And that speaks, no matter what you give, no matter what you spend, maybe you don't give anything and you only do. Like I think on the list we had, a charitable donation on behalf of the client. So you send that, you put that on a card, and then you write in there a thank you gift. Like, this is what we did. We gave a certain amount to a charity in our community, and thank you so much for our relationship.
Yeah, I
value you.
Yeah, and bringing up like the handwritten note, I think that is, just from a business standpoint, that is a completely underutilized sort of gesture and impact that you can have. Because I look at it with the number of handwritten notes that I receive, on an annual basis, I could probably count them on one hand this year.
Same.
And I would argue that the vast majority of people receive, outside of like a birthday note or something for a specific occasion, like a new baby or something like that. Outside of those, I would guess that most people receive very few, if any. And I think the reason that it has the impact is that in a world that is automating everything and making it easier, the more time that you take, because everybody knows this, to shoot a quick text message off as a sign of appreciation, it takes like 30 seconds. But to get out and handwrite a personal note, to mess up and have to rate it again, right? To address the label and then get it into the mailbox. And it shows more effort is required in order to provide the gesture and the appreciation. And I think that is seen by people.
And it reads sincere.
Yeah. Well, I think it is. I don't think you can fake it.
True. And I think that will be received as the sincereness. And that's the whole point of these gift guides and these end-of-year gifting, which, again, is different than the closing gift.
Sure.
It's different than the transaction gift. This is about the relationship, and the thank you gift gives that sincere piece. I mean, not the thank you note, the handwritten note.
Well, that's why it doesn't really... What's important to understand about, end-of-the-year gratitude and gift giving is that it's not necessarily the size or the price of the gift or gesture or gift. It is the gesture in and of itself that I think will have the impact.
And I think it sets you aside and sets you different apart from a typical agent, which can sometimes be transaction focused. How many deals did I get this year? What was my number? To also balancing that relationship driven agent. And I think it's not as common these days in society and then also in the industry.
Yeah. I think you can, so like for folks out there that are considering giving end of the year gifts or client appreciation gifts towards the end of the year, obviously the more connected you are to the gift or to the gesture, to the individual, the better. So one of the things that I always had trouble with, because a common thing in real estate is to give pies around Thanksgiving. I don't know, have you ever had an agent do that? No. So it's very common within the real estate industry to order from like Costco or like one of these bigger, food manufacturers places. You can get pumpkin pies and, all sorts of different ones. And then you give them away for free to the clients.
Right.
That almost is an automated process, like Costco and what's the other big one, BJ's?
Yes.
Yeah, both of those, they know that this time of year they order them in excess. And then a lot of the times they'll have them at the office, they'll take orders, and then the client actually comes to the office. And, it is
a good idea as long as it comes with that thank you note.
Right. But that's what it misses out because it's so generalized. And I think that that's my problem was that I never felt connected to that particular
So you probably didn't do it.
I never did it.
If you weren't connected to it.
Correct. And that's where, if people feel disconnected, sometimes like even with closing gifts, people will give like cutting boards or like there are very common real estate gifts in this industry. And I always felt like they just weren't sort of genuine to me. They were being done because they were kind of common and easy. And if somebody feels really connected to those, then God bless. I mean, it is a very kind gesture to offer sort of something that would cost a client more money to go out and do on them by themselves and be of use. Like there is value, and I'm not knocking that sort of thing. I just never felt connected to it.
So you didn't.
I didn't do it, and I needed to feel
excited about giving the gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I were doing this, I love receiving a personalized ornament. So that would be something I would be excited to put together for my client list and send it out. I personally like to receive them.
Yep.
Yours, the Esposito group, is the wreaths.
Yeah. So
tell me a little bit about that. And when did that start?
That started, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago.
Sandy,
how long ago was it ago? But we did them with the current place but I did them before that. So I might have done it 1 or 2 years. So it originally started out, and shout out to my buddy Phil Vita up north of Boston, but we were in a mastermind group, and he started doing that. He started ordering wreaths, and they were so beautiful. You know, he got them at like a 40% of retail value. They came in a really nice box. The first year that I tried it, I went to our local nursery, and I looked at what I could get around the same budget, and it was like, it just didn't feel appropriate, but I still did it. I bought them in bulk. I went and delivered them, but they weren't in a box. They sort of felt cheap to me. Like, it's not something that if I went and picked
You
it
weren't
out
excited.
I wasn't super excited about it.
Yeah, I know.
I think I took a year off of it. And then my primary hesitation the first year was the complexity of getting them from this nursery, which is about an hour away. And also the cost was nearly double what I got that first year.
Okay.
But
what you do now is an hour away and almost double the cost?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So those were two impediments that I couldn't overcome the first or the second year. Second year, I just didn't do anything. And then sort of I really felt compelled to try it, to do it right the third year. And that was probably 4 years ago.
Okay.
Where we did it the way that we do it now. And it just feels, to me, it just feels good. It feels right. It feels appropriate. It feels appreciated by the clients.
Right. They get it. Everyone uses a wreath this time of year. So you go the day after Thanksgiving?
Day after Thanksgiving, yeah.
And you pick them up.
So I rent a box truck because we tried for a couple of years. It's our first time using a box truck, like a U-Haul rental. But we used to take trips up there. So I'd get up there because they open at 7 a.m. I would leave the house at 6. I'd go up there because I'd have to make 2 or 3. Then Sandy started coming with me. My sister Emily, who worked for us for a number of years, would go up there. So sometimes we'd make like 4 or 5 car trips to go and get all of these because they're good sized boxes with wreaths. So you can only fit 15, 18, 20 in your car, depending on the size of your car.
So it was like a whole team effort.
So it was a whole team effort, not only to go up the hour there and the hour back, but then bring them to a centralized location. Mm-hmm. And if we have 70, 80, 100 of these to deliver, then it's the process of like figuring out locations. Like west side of Mansfield has 6, 8, 10. All right, so that's one run. And then you got to go back and restock up, and then you go to another location. So it would take us, and right now it takes us a good solid week.
But what's interesting about all of that, kind of navigating all the complexities of that, you didn't care because you're excited to give the gift. You had a reason to give the gift, and it was appreciation of the relationship. If that had been a gift you weren't excited to give and just transactional based, it would have been so much heavier of a load for you. But I mean, it's a lot of work.
I would likely not have done it.
Right. And so that, I think, is like what was unlocked.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes that inspiration, right? Like I got inspired by Phil doing that for his clients. And I saw, the value that he got from it, the experience of it. And I saw the appreciation that his clients felt. And because of proximity to him and, I hold him in very high esteem, just sort of seeing that illustrated. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of the hope that we had talked about putting this out there. Was to inspire people to do this, because sometimes it just takes like doing it once and feeling connected and seeing the appreciation and, going that extra distance
to acknowledge
the relationship. I think that's what we hope to accomplish with this video, is not so much to get any sort of praise for what we do, but more to inspire other people to do similar things. Right.
So the gift guides are out. They're on the website. They're on your social media. And then I think your big like action item is to just get your client list organized right now.
Yeah.
Just start.
Yeah. I think it's like, even if you looked at just giving a client appreciation gift to the clients that did business with you, and make it
start there.
Start really small, right? Just get 1 year under your belt. Look through the gift guide that we gave. If you don't feel connected to a particular gift, that you've seen out there. Maybe we inspire you to get connected to a particular one that we think might be compelling. But find that gift. Just start the process.
Start with a small list and just,
It took me doing it once uncomfortably and then not doing it. And then it takes time to get these things right. And as long as you're in this business for the foreseeable future, who cares if you do it right or you do it wrong? Again, the gesture and the time that it takes is more impactful than, how it ends up turning out.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
So
thanks for chatting.
go out. If you guys have questions on it, just obviously shoot us a call, send us, communicate us to whatever channel you want. But we're happy to give you ideas or just give you feedback on what ideas you already have.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.